All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Philippine.net, June 2022 to Philippine.net Users Group Online Dev Sessions. My name is John. I am the community lead for the Philippine.net Users Group, and I'm also a principal developer at a company called PageUp. And tonight we'll be talking about something on the UI side this time. Something about basically it probably would answer a lot of people's questions about the future of a technology that had been around for some time. It's called WPF. So some of you might have questions if WPF will survive or if WPF will be continued. And this is one of those. If you are into WPF, this would be, tonight's session would be something really interesting for you. But before we go to tonight's session, so let me just take this time to thank everyone that is here, that is watching us. Also to thank our basically the people helping us with our stream. So I would like to thank my employer PageUp for supporting me in this live stream and this event for well, we have a ton of openings for developers actually right now for the Manila team, and they will be working with me directly. So please proceed to popcareers.pageuppeople.com if you're interested in joining my team. Join me in all of that. All right. And we do have an event to learn more about the day-to-day life as a page shop software engineer in Manila on July 18, 2022 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You could scan the QR code or follow this link at the bottom of the page, a page of Manila Daily day to day. We're going to talk about what we do at page up and the things that we're working on, whether it's everything from legacy to very new technologies. All right. And before we also continue, we would like to thank the .NET Foundation. So the .NET Foundation is an organization that supports the .NET user groups around the world. Please visit them at .NETFoundation.org. And if you are interested in watching more or finding out about more events from different .NET user groups around the world, not just from the Philippines, also from the US, from other parts of the globe. Please join the .NET Virtual User Group meetup. Meetup.com/.NET virtual user group, and they have a different .NET user group events in different time zones advertised there. And if you have not yet joined us in our social media channels, please take this time to follow these links and join us in our Facebook group, follow us on Twitter. A lot of you would probably have already found our meetup, but yeah, please join us there, and please also join us on LinkedIn. So, all right, so that's it for the stuff. So for tonight's topic, I really don't have much. Personally, I'm not much of a WPF guy, but our speaker tonight will be here to talk to us about it. He's a UI and UX developer at a company called zkSNACKs, and yeah, he started his .NET journey in 2010 with WPF, and he's focused very much on the UI UX side of things. And since 2018, he has been part of the team or he has been one of the team that is maintaining this project called Avalonia. So to talk to us more about Avalonia and what it is about and what it brings to the table, especially now with not just with WPF, but with also with .NET Core and the newer technologies. Please Join me in welcoming Jumar Macato.
Good evening, guys, and good evening, everyone. I'm Jumar Macato. Um,
Hello.
Thank you for having me, Sir John.
Yeah, all right. All right. I will hand the floor over to you, and then yeah, I'll let you go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
So, the presentation is all about building cross-platform apps with Avalonia. Um, so, so who am I? I am Jumar Macato. I'm co-maintaining the Avalonia project, and I'm also a UI and UX developer at zkSNACKs in Hungary. I live in Metro Manila, and I'm a bit of an electronics hobbyist. So, what is Avalonia? So you might think. I think this Avalonia is a cross-platform XAML-based UI framework for .NET. It's not only for if you don't know XAML, it's okay because you can also code with C sharp or just F sharp plain. And yeah, you do not have to have a prior experience with XAML based frameworks to use Avalonia. So this project is a spiritual successor to WPF because as would people know, WPF is a Windows only technology that has been around for almost 15 years, I guess, I would guess. And it is not cross-platform as well. So that is where we are differentiated with it. So in this example, we have a code from WPF. As you can see, the only thing you need for this code to run on us is to replace this part of the code, the namespace, and you can just replace that with this namespace, and it will run on Avalonia just fine. So with regards to styling, so I don't know if this is related to the web developers, but most web developers use CSS to style the elements in a web page. So in Avalonia, we also have the same concept. It is a mix of CSS and the WPF and UWP styling, and the styles are not stored in resources just like in WPF, but they are stored in a styles collection, a separate XAML file for that. Sometimes the style applies to the control that is defined and all descendants, and you can also add those styles by adding them to the styles properties. And also if you want to the style to apply in application wide, you can also use the application.styles collection. So this is how we define a style. So as you can see here, you need to define the target type of control that you want to style. And in this example, you can specify class name just like in CSS. And if you want to use it, it's basically just like in HTML. Like you will just add the classes attribute or property, and there it will apply that style. So the project is not right now. It's not focused on 100% WPF API compatibility because we want you to reuse your knowledge of concepts and also the wealth of information that we have from years of 15 years of WPF's existence. So most of that code knowledge base that we have over those years, you can apply most of them in Avalonia. So why would you use Avalonia? Why can't you just use other frameworks? So for starters, it is open source since its inception. It was started with by Stephen Kirk in 2013 when he was trying to make uh, a reverse engineered WPF, and he thought, why can't this be a bit more modernized? a bit more, and also cross platforms. It will work on all platforms, not just in Windows. So that's where it all started. And now we have around 258 active contributors, and also we have 11,000. I think it's already in the 13,000 range GitHub stars, and we have also more than 70,000 Visual Studio extensions installations already. So as you can see in this graph, we have a really huge traction over the past year, uh, compared to our friends at Xamarin Forms and the Uno platform as well. So I think that's good. Yeah. And we have our unique approach. So we support basically all platforms that .NET have. So legacy framework and .NET Core also works. We also have a very if you are from WPF, you will feel at home from to Avalonia. And UWP and Xamarin developers will not have any problems switching to our tech, because it is quite similar. Um, and you can also share the app logic and the UI code across all the platforms that we support. And um, we are also proven to in modernizing old legacy WPF apps as well. We had that example from Unity, that they ported a tool, and they have been successful in porting it over. So we support basically all the modern platforms that you need to target. So we have Windows, Mac OS, Linux desktop, iOS, Android, and WebAssembly. So as you can see in this architecture overview, basically Avalonia UI is only on this single project. Most of our logic is in that most of our effort is in that .NET Standard 2.0 project. And Avalonia only needs a runtime platform implementation, a window for it to display, and also a rendering platform for it to draw all the stuff it needs to draw in the screen. So how does it work? So let's try a demo here. Um, Sir John, if I may share my screen. Um,
Sure, go ahead.
okay. Okay, here. So I would like to demonstrate making a new Avalonia project. So I guess we could name this Hello Avalonia, like that. Okay. So I have selected the MBVM template, because this is our recommended way of doing apps for Avalonia. And also, I would like to explain each file in this solution. Can you see it there? Um, okay, so here we have the program.cs, which is basically the same as you have on other .NET projects. So it initializes everything there. And we have the app.axaml, that defines the global settings that the app needs. So basic on here, we define the theme of the app. And in this folder, we have views. So basically, all the controls, all the UI stuff that you need to do, you need to put it there. And we have view models, which is the logic that controls those UI elements. So let's try running this there. Okay. Um, Now it works there. Now let's try see if we can debug this. So hello uh, there. Maybe we can try having a debugger breakpoint in there as well. Okay, as you can see, you can debug in Avalonia. quite easily. You just need to set breakpoints and stuff. Then if we continue, then there. So yeah, that's for the first demo that we have. Okay. So the project itself has been used by a lot of Fortune 500 companies, including GitHub with their Git SCM manager, a Git credential manager, Unity with their plastic SCM version control, JetBrains. I will explain that more in the later slides, and other big companies in the sector as well, and also Microsoft. So yeah. So, as I would like to explain the beautiful relationship between JetBrains and Avalonia. So, as they said, that Avalonia was an easy choice for them. It is an impressive technology which has seen a tremendous growth in recent years. So, if you want the best Avalonia developer experience, then I would really suggest for you to use JetBrains Rider, because they have native support for our dialect of XAML, and also a lot of debugging and good debugging and preview tooling as well, and ReSharper as well. They support our XAML dialect too. So we also collaborate with them a lot. So uh, it's really a good sign for the project that we are being supported by a company like
Right.
JetBrains.
Jumar,
Yes,
we have a few questions here while we are on that topic of IDEs, I guess, and WPF support. So one question earlier that came out is from Jose. Are the controls in WPF and Avalonia the same? Are is there, I guess, is there parity? Is it the same? If I know WPF, does that mean I already know Avalonia?
actually, most of our controls will have a similar, well, actually,
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same names. With
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible, we try to match WPF,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes we also import controls from the Universal Windows platform. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we can say they are the same conceptually, but code
Okay.
wise, no, it's not.
All right, all right. So behind this, so I guess in terms of the SAML side of the code, it
Yes,
looks the same,
yes,
but yeah, under the hood it wouldn't be the
yes,
same thing.
yes,
All
yes.
right, that's awesome. We have another a question. I guess when you showed the debugging, Glenford asked if it supports hot reload.
Currently, we have plans for that, but sadly, it's not yet ready for public consumption.
All right,
But
all right.
we have an alternative for hot reload, which is the previewer on JetBrains Rider.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could use that.
Okay, okay. And wow, there's a lot of questions coming in. Afsal, does Rider have Linux support?
Yes,
Yes,
they
they
have
do, right? Yeah, yeah. Because I remember using Rider in Mac and basically Unix.
basically all desktop
Mm-hmm.
operating systems. They support that.
Mm-hmm. Right. And question from
Okay.
Facebook asking about if drag and drop experience similar to WPF in BS.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, we, in my personal opinion, we do not I do not like to encourage that, because one, it will produce a bad code in the back end, because if you just design it visually, the structure of the XAML will not look good,
Uh, yeah, yeah.
and
All
it's
right.
not going to be maintainable. So we try to nudge our users to learn the basic strategies that will benefit them in the long term.
Okay, okay. All right. I will continue asking. There's one more question here, but it's I know the person asking it is Jojo Aquino over in Facebook. So I will hold your question, Jojo, until later. I'll let you, Jumar, continue first with the rest of your slides. Right.
Thank you, Sir John.
Uh,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, so next would be yeah. So like I said in the previous slides, they also tried to we are proven in modernizing legacy WPF apps. .NET Trace and .NET Memory is being ported to Avalonia as of this time. I think they already have it on Rider for their latest EAP release. So they are using Avalonia out of process, and then they are piping the UI to the Rider's interface, so it would look seamless there. So I hope they can release that soon, so that it those two very great tools will um, run on all platforms that we support on desktop. So, excuse me. Okay, so now we can talk about the relationship between Microsoft and Avalonia. So our good friend Scott Hanselman has said that Avalonia is an open source project that clearly takes its inspiration from Avalon and has an unapologetic love for XAML. So yes, that's true. We do love XAML because it's powerful, quite powerful tool for designing UI. So we have a very synergistic relationship with Xamarin Forms as well. As you can see here, if you want to develop that apps with that uses native controls, then you could use Xamarin or Maui. But if you want the desktop apps style complexity, if you want your apps to look exactly the same across all platforms, then you could use us, the Avalonia project. And also with our relationship with them, you can also share your logic with and view models, behaviors, converters as well. You can share those between Xamarin, Maui, and Avalonia. So here we have an example: shared view model and converters. This is an example app there. Windows with Avalonia, macOS, Linux, and Avalonia as well, and Android with Xamarin Forms and iOS as well. So what's the difference on these platforms? So with regards to platform support, uh, basically all three supports all the Windows, Mac OS, but only Xamarin Forms and Avalonia supports Linux. Which I would like to remark. Basically, we treat Linux desktop as first class citizen as well. We don't use the GTK toolkit to draw our stuff, which I will explain later in the later slides. And for mobile, basically all three platforms supports it, but ours is still on preview. Um, and also, Xamarin Forms and Maui do not support web with a WebAssembly, but we do also in preview state. So the key differences, our strength, Avalonia's strength is mostly on desktop. In Xamarin Forms and Maui, they are mobile. And when it comes to the rendering infrastructure, we use Skia, so it's all pixel perfect. In Xamarin Forms and Maui, they reuse the native controls in each platform that they support. And in XAML, it needs our dialect is the WPF like, while Xamarin Forms and Maui have their own. So how does our rendering work? Okay, so in Xamarin, like I said in the earlier slides, they use the native UI toolkit. For example, in iOS and Mac, you use UI kit. In Android, it's views. In Windows, it's system.windows.controls. And they overlay a shared UI code and a shared C# backend to that. So the apps will look native. as if you develop them in the toolkits that you use in that platform. Anyway, so while in Avalonia, we only use the windowing system for each platform. With Mac, it's Coco. Um, in Linux, we directly use the Zorg X11, and probably we will have support for Wayland as well later. And in Windows, we use Win32 and Win Composition. And we only use their windowing systems, and we overlay our own um, screen, as you would call it. So, on top of that screen, we draw using Skia, which is used by Google Chrome and Flutter. I think also Firefox uses that, and a lot more apps. So with that kind of infrastructure that we are able to make pixel perfect apps everywhere. So if you want your apps to look like the same, if you want to have a consistent, very consistent UI experience and user experience for your apps, then I think this will be an advantage. Okay, so demo time. Sir John, if I may. Okay. Can you guys see it?
Um, I, I don't think I have your. Oh, okay. Here's your desktop.
Okay. Okay, let's close this. Let's open the Wordle app. This app was originally a WPF app, so we ported it over to Avalonia. So let's try running it on desktop here. There. So let's try. I don't know. Do you guys know how to play this? Maybe that. Nope. Okay. Anyway, there we go. Oh, nice. So there. Now I would like to show the iOS support that we have. So let's try that. Okay, here. Let's minimize. It's loading a little bit slowly because I'm using the simulator, but on real mobile phone, in iPhone itself, it works quite well actually. So there. Let's try this maybe. Oh, nice. Well, I think I solved that. Anyway, now let's try the web. I hope this works. Yes. Okay. So, okay. Yes, it works. So as you can see here in this solution explorer, it's only just a single solution, and you don't need to, and we have the shared logic here. Basically the window is in here, as you can see. So um, yeah, that's all for this for this demo. Okay. Okay, so for our roadmap for what's next for Avalonia. So right now we are working on IME input method editor support that is needed for a lot of international languages. We have right to left support for languages such as Arabic and other languages that needs that. We also have accessibility and UI automation in the works. I think it's already working in our nightly builds. We are also having a new composition rendering system that is inspired by wind composition, which will give us a great performance boost as well. And we also hope that our iOS, Android, and WebAssembly um, become fully supported, and they would graduate from previews preview status. So
All
yeah,
right.
that's all for that presentation. I would like to take questions now.
Right. We do have a bunch of questions already lined up from the chat. But before I go to the questions, I'd like to acknowledge. I think we do have Steve Kirk on the call. I see SJ Kirkify in the YouTube live chat. Right. But let's go to the questions. Okay.
Okay.
Um, from this is from my friend Jojo Aquino over on Facebook. What are the features or lack thereof, I suppose, that would prevent us from using this in production, or is anything preventing us from using this in production?
No, because we've been using Avalonia for a long time on production apps, especially on my employer. We have deployed it for a lot of users already, and
Mm-hmm.
it has been quite stable. And I don't think JetBrains will use it on their
On
top of the,
Rider,
yes,
yeah,
on
yeah.
their top of the line debuggers such as dot trace and dot memory. If we
Mm-hmm.
were not
Wait,
production ready.
just to clarify, is Rider using Avalonia, or
No,
is there
no,
not yet? Not yet. All right. So
we
it's
hope.
dot trace and
Yes, but
yeah.
I think their tech is idea Java, something like that. I think
Oh, IntelliJ.
intelligent.
IntelliJ, yeah, yeah. Is so IntelliJ is using Avalonia?
No, no, no. I mean, Rider is not using a Avalonia yet.
Ah, all right, all right, all right, all right. So hopefully they do partner. Okay, that
Us.
that's that's for the thing. All right, there's another question again from Jose. How is the performance? Is there any perceived performance difference between using Avalonia and maybe compared to .NET to WPF, .NET MAUI, and Xamarin Forms.
Well, it is quite
Um,
specific
yeah.
because
How does it compare?
how does it compare? Yeah, that's the $1 million question, I think. So performance wise, we are getting there. Yeah, we have we have the upcoming Avalonia 11 release, which will really improve the performance that users can expect. But right now, I think it's quite good because we can achieve 60 FPS quite easily on large workloads as well, which sometimes we even beat WPF on the same workloads. But don't quote me on that.
Okay, okay. I won't quote you on that. All right. Excuse me if I'm getting choppy. I think I'm experiencing some network delays on my side. So
Yes.
yeah, that's on my ISP's problem. Okay, another question. There's actually a lot of comments here in the chat that I just like to focus as well. Dan Walmsley is explaining the reason for not recommending drag and drop is because of
Yes.
WFDs and
Yes.
non-responsive layouts. And then I guess he's working with you because he's
Yes.
talking about, yeah, some ideas for visual
Damn.
designer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Uh,
and the hot reload. Yeah, I think this is Steve. So no hot reload yet, but yes, Rider works on Linux, and Dan again says hot reload in the future. Next question is Jeremy Sinclair. Does Avalonia support ARM 64?
Yes, very much. I am a staunch supporter of ARM64. I'm using it personally on my PineBook Pro laptop,
Mhm.
which is a ARM64 platform that is Linux ARM64. Jeremy also himself has already used Avalonia on Windows ARM64. So
Okay,
yes, it does.
awesome, awesome. All right, that's yeah. Does it support for higher refresh rate?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are not. We use Skia for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think wherever Google Chrome runs, we run also. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an
All right.
advantage using it.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not sure if anybody's publishing high FPS games on this, but
Well,
yeah.
actually, we have an example of that. But they pipe the data from Avalonia to
Mm-hmm.
Unity Engine. So they use
Oh,
Avalonia as a kind of game
a
UI.
shell. Mm-hmm.
Yes, as a shell. Yes, and they
Yeah.
draw.
Okay.
Yeah. And we
Uh,
also have a project from a Chinese company, I think, Grit Gene, which is
mm-hmm.
kind of like Blender,
Mm-hmm.
but more fancier. They use it for visual effects in movies. So
Mm-hmm.
they use the Avalonia itself as an app in desktop, and they have a C++ back end that draws 3D engine stuff. I'm not sure,
Mm-hmm.
but it is quite good. Yeah, I would give you a link later, sir. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, might be a good idea to flash up some links of the resources for those kinds of things. All
Yes.
right. So does another question from Jose. Jose's very interested in Avalonia right now.
Yes.
So does Avalonia support vector graphics and animations?
Animations very much. That's where I started actually in Avalonia. I built the animations engine.
Mm-hmm.
I jump started it with the help of my friends in the core maintainer team. And vector graphics, yes, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
I also made a I don't know if you guys know Lottie.
Mm.
Um, it's a vector animations format that is used by Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. I
no,
think that popped a reminder because I think one of our UI um our UI designers in PageUp has been talking
yes,
about Lottie animations as
yes,
micro animations
yes,
for web applications. So okay, okay, that's familiar.
yes. I made a library for GIF
Mm-hmm.
rendering and Lottie rendering. Sadly,
Mm-hmm.
it's not yet ready for production, but we have that. Yes. So
All
if you
right.
want,
That's awesome.
you want uh, Surgeon, if you know a Grab,
Mm-hmm.
they have these fancy animations sometimes. They use
Mm-hmm.
Lottie for that. So if you want
Okay.
those kinds of animations, then we can use that.
Awesome. Awesome. That sounds exciting. All
Yes.
right. And other than that, uh, I encourage the audience to ask more questions, but there are some more comments from away from Steve. Dan says, yeah, JetBrains and are using Avalonia for their tools .memory and .trace, and it runs embedded inside the latest version of Writer. Okay, let's ask the hard questions.
Yes.
All right. I'm going. If you are going to be asked why Avalonia over, say, Xamarin or over .NET Maui, what would be the response to that?
Okay, what would be my marketing pitch, basically?
Yeah.
Yes. Well. First of all, I don't think if this counts, but as a third party, not just a Microsoft owned tool, we have
Okay.
our independent way of doing things, which also users can approach us if they have something they need, if they want support, they can reach out to us. And also, I think for the most part, if you want to use the native controls in your platforms, if you want the native look, if you want it to look like a Windows app, if you want it to look like an Android app or an iOS app, then sure use Mac, Maui or Xamarin Forms. But if you want stuff like Slack, Discord, or those big hitters in the industry that wants their own user experience across the board, across all platforms,
Okay.
then please use Avalonia.
Okay. That's a good argument. If you want a consistent experience across different platforms, that it would
Yes.
be
And
it
also,
would be the go-to. Okay.
and also the maintenance aspect itself, as I have demonstrated in the earlier presentation, that you only need one solution for your app.
Mm-hmm.
How hard, uh, how much harder can you maintain that?
Yeah. I would agree. Well, one thing that has been I guess it's a pain point for a lot of UI developers in the Windows ecosystem
Yes,
is the longevity of you know
yes,
uh, um,
yes,
um, frameworks that Microsoft uses.
yes,
So we have a lot of traumatized Silverlight
yes. Silverlight.
developers who have you know everything else has moved on away from Silverlight, and then SAML, the support for WPF, for example, has been
Yes,
spotty at best
yes.
over the years, and that's something that's always been a contentious topic for this. So would you argue that Avalonia doesn't suffer from the same
No,
from those same issues?
that's basically the impetus, that the main rationale that we had
Mm-hmm.
in making Avalonia is that we love XAML, you know, and Microsoft. Please don't take this as a representation of my colleagues'
Mm-hmm.
opinion, but just
Mm-hmm.
myself. They have not been quite um, reliable when it comes to UI frameworks. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just like as an example in Silverlight, uh, a lot of companies, a lot of users has been quite burned with that experience, and we don't like that to happen in Avalonia. So that's why we are community. We have a large community of users that contributes, and we love that.
Mm-hmm.
For We love them for doing that. This is a very community driven project, so I think that itself will ensure the longevity of this project,
Yeah. Yeah.
even
I guess
if we are all gone. Somebody can just work it, and if they want to.
yeah. I guess it's the fact that it's open source and then completely independent of
Yes,
say MS development teams. I mean, not to say anything against the MS development teams that are involved in open source projects, but it's I guess being a initiated by Microsoft project has some implications that are different from the usual the true open source community driven projects and all of that.
yes.
So okay, fair answer, fair answer for that. All right. Um yeah, let's go back to those questions. Have you answered this? Or I think we haven't shown it yet. Would you recommend Avalonia for web developers because yeah, he sees Wasm will also be supported in the future. So um yeah, is it something that's viable for web developers, and how far along in the future would Wasm support be?
Right now, it's quite good, but we still need to work with the folks at in Blazor as well,
Mm-hmm.
because it's their back end.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some more optimizations need to be done there, because Wasm is quite limited compared
Mm-hmm.
to other platforms that we support. But despite that, we still want it to be done. So hopefully in the next in Avalonia point something, point one, point two, or we will have a good WebAssembly support. And if that happens, I think you can treat it like a web app, not like a web not like a web page, but more
Mm-hmm.
like a web application.
More like a what do you call this? Responsive or uh,
Progressive web app.
progressive,
Yes,
web app. Okay.
yes,
You can see I'm a backend developer just
yes,
because I'm not very well versed in this thing. All right, all right. Um, okay. What other? Afsal asks if we can use Microsoft SQL clients with Avalonia for SQL Server Entity Framework. Um, this sounds like back end, right? But
yes,
or do we use web API for services? How does it work if I want to make, if I want to make a Windows desktop solution? Does it work like the old WPF SAML Windows desktop apps? Does it look the
yes,
same?
yes. Actually, WPF is also pixel perfect. That is where we got the inspiration as well. So theoretically, if you ported WPF to other apps, it was not closely tied to DirectX. It will act. It's basically will be Avalonia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. And that's most of our questions. And I'd really like to thank our very active audience, and
thank you
I'd
guys.
like to thank the your I think a lot of your friends from Avalonia are here as well.
Yeah, they are.
And,
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Dan.
yeah, so
Hi, Jose.
thank you for adding to that discussion. Right, next question I have: if I want to play more with Avalonia, and if I want to try it for myself,
Yes,
or just develop for it, or if I'm a WPF developer from a long time ago and want to pick it up
yes,
again, where do we
yes,
go? Do we have a link, or do you have any resources that you could share for that?
yes. Please visit avaloniaui.net.
Mm-hmm.
You can also search in Google Avalonia UI, so, and you can see the project there. If you want the .NET templates, we can probably share later the link. I think you can just if you don't have an IDE, if you only use VS Code, you can also just type .NET new, that kind of thing.
Oh, there's a template. There's an online template for Avalonia. What was the URL you shared earlier? Avalonia dot. What was it?
Yes,
Avalonia dot net.
avaloniaui.net. Yes,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
on my last slide actually.
All right.
Yes.
Let's put that back here.
Okay. Here, if folks will want to contact me on Twitter,
Ah.
you can. Yeah, there.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, follow Jumar and at Jumar Macato and J Macato on GitHub, and visit
Yes.
Avalonia's
Also,
site in avaloniaui.net.
yes. Tag me, tweet me, direct message me. I'm open. If you have questions for Avalonia.
Yeah, all right, awesome, and thank you very much for sharing that. So yeah, last few comments here. Jeremy's thanking
Hi,
us, so thank
Jeremy.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, and Dan uh adding a few more responses for, I guess, for Afsal. Yeah, great
Thanks.
presentation. All right. So I guess is there anything else, any other things that you'd like to share?
Yes, well, Avalonia 11 is upcoming, hopefully, this third quarter of the year. With those improvements, I think it will be really kick ass.
All
Yes,
right. All
yes,
right, cool. That sounds very exciting, and it's good to see that there are, there are tools out there that leverage on, existing skills or existing
yes,
experience
yes,
that probably would have
Been wasted, yes.
yeah, would have been wasted, or we didn't want all that learning to go to waste. Well, um yeah, or at least we don't want it to be just relegated to legacy, right?
Indeed, yes. I
Yeah,
think
we
the legacy that WPF has been quite impactful, especially for me personally.
Mhm.
I've started with that
Mhm.
tech. I don't want it to die.
Okay, okay.
I really like
So
it.
so yeah, but yes, it's really good to know that there are open source projects like this that continue to help those kinds of projects live on, and it's
Yes,
good that you have that kind of support from JetBrains. I think that's really awesome.
yes, indeed.
All right. All right. So with that, I guess that ends our presentation. Thank you so much, Jumar,
Thank you, Sir
for
John.
being
Thank
here.
you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. I hope that. Oh, wait, what is this? We have one last question, Jumar. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, I think it says
Hey.
one last question. I wanted to accommodate it because we still have 10 minutes actually. So, last question, maybe, Miss that you talked about a previewer.
Yes. If I could share the screen again.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's see this. Okay. As you can see on this okay, that's wrong file. Here we have a previewer here. If I want to modify this to say like red, then it works like that. So we have a plugin in that is built by a JetBrains employee, and yeah, I think hopefully they will include it in the next version of Rider as well, so that
All right.
people will not have to install that.
All right, all right. How about VS Code? Will that do
Yes.
you have plugins
No,
for that?
no, we love VS Code.
Okay, okay.
We had plans for a previewer. We also have, I think, code completion already.
Mm-hmm,
An Avalonia plugin for VS Code
mm-hmm.
users. So if they want to use that, I will try to link it. Maybe it's not yet ready.
Okay.
Dan also said that Visual Studio has a previewer built in on the Avalonia extension. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
So
So,
basically, all the IDEs that .NET users are quite familiar already.
mhm.
They are quite at home at Avalonia.
All right. That's great. That's great to see. All right. So again, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir. And
yeah, and
audience,
yeah.
thank you so much for
Hopefully,
the questions.
hopefully, a lot of people. I'll flash this again if you want to reach Jumar.
Reach me,
Please. Yeah.
ask anything.
Follow him to Twitter. Ask anything. And yep. Yeah. You learn more about that. Okay, so thank you again very much,
Thank you, Sir John,
Jumar.
again.
Thank you. All right. So, all right, that concludes our PHINUG dev session for tonight. I hope you learned a lot. I hope that all of the um WPF developers out there would have gotten their glimmer of hope that their WPF and their SAML skills or even their old projects won't have to go to waste. It could you could probably try to port it to Avalonia and see what works, what breaks, and then maybe give it a new lease of life. And that's something that I think is really good in terms of the kind of support that at least we have this community and we have these open source projects that continue these kinds of works. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. For the next month, we are cooking up something, and we are trying our best to see if we could have some sort of hybrid event where we could have a combined in-person and online streaming. In person is very limited at the moment, and of course we're very mindful of of the COVID situation, the potential for any added restrictions to people. But if that opportunity does come up, we will inform you in our meetup page. So I am hoping that I could finally see some people in person. But again, we would continue streaming these events, even if they're in person. Maybe we won't get the logistics right, or things right immediately, but yeah, I'm just hoping that you would continue supporting the Philippine.net users group for in its future events. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for their participation. Thank you for watching this stream. Maraming salamat po. And we'll see you next month. Thank you. Bye.